Cool. So we'll move on now to another segment, accent or ghost.
Accent or ghost.
So in this segment, I'll present Adam with a largely debated topic among the drumming industry, a new product, or any viewer-submitted content, and we'll get an approval, accent, or disapproval, ghost. So first thing on the list, forward-facing snare drums.
Forward-facing snare drums. So we're talking forward angling, like Buddy Rich-ish style. Man, it's so style dependent, I think. I think you could pull it off if you're just that kind of player, right? I think it's a little weird when it would be forced. What's the kid? He signed with Meinl. Gray, you know his name. Grayson?
Grayson was 16. I think he's 17 years old now.
He's so good for being that young.
Incredible traditional jazz player. Just studies some of the greatest jazz drummers of our era and
doesn't he have a forward
style. I think he might switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
He might be more level than forward, but...
that's what comes to mind, right? Like that super organic jazz style. Yeah, I think if you're doing that, it could make sense. But you have to remember, of course, the history of why snares were ever tilted away from you. And of course, it's rooted in traditional grip. And traditional grip sort of came from, like, I don't know, I want to say colonial times, like marching snare drums, where they would hang a snare drum over and marching into war. And they would angle that drum like it hung sideways. And so matched grip made sense for the right hand, but the left hand had to reach over top of the rim. I'm sure we can find a picture of this. And, that's sort of where traditional grip came from, was this idea that the snares were inherently going to be tilted and you had to reach over top of that rim. And obviously that carried into, I imagine, like ragtime era and early jazz playing, and all the way to 2020, I suppose, if you're still angling your snare. I think it's just relative to style, and if you're into that kind of style. Buddy Rich certainly did it quite a bit. I know there's some famous solos where you can see he has that heavy forward angle. I think it's dope if you just own that style is what it comes down to. It's not my thing. Another example would be like a Daru Jones, but of course his setup is just absolutely
very severe.
Yeah, that's severe. That's not it's not recommended. You should probably do some super famous hip hop albums before you get to make a kit like that, right? He gets away with it, but probably not recommended for any early drummer to do such a thing. But just comes down to style. But that Grayson kid, that comes to mind for sure. You could pull it off if you do that. You play like that, go ahead. You're good.
Absolutely.